Every spin feels random, but the real slot machine scandal is not about rigging or luck. It is about how digital design quietly stacks the odds while keeping you playing. When wins shrink your balance and near misses fuel your hope, official audits say everything is legal. But are players furious for the wrong reasons? Behind the reels is a truth the industry rarely explains. Today we pull back the curtain on the hidden mechanics changing how every game is played. Stories about secret switches and hidden levers have followed slot machines for decades. One persistent belief is that using a player card makes your machine pay out less. In reality, the player card only tracks your play for comps and rewards like free meals, hotel stays, or points. The outcome of each spin is set by a random number generator, and not by your identity or how often you visit. No card, no matter how shiny or VIP, can alter the odds built into the software. Another rumor says casinos tighten their slots on weekends or after a big jackpot. The idea is that as crowds grow, someone flips a switch behind the scenes and it becomes harder to win. In regulated markets such as Nevada or New Jersey, that is simply not possible. Slot payback percentages are hard-coded in the machine software or stored on secure servers, and any change to payback must be logged, verified, and approved by gaming regulators. Changing payback involves removing a machine from the floor or taking it offline, with every step documented and auditable. There is no secret button that lets a casino quietly make games stingier for a Saturday rush or after a lucky player cashes out. The process is transparent and auditable. The myth of hot and cold machines also lingers. Some players swear a machine that just paid out is less likely to hit again, or that a machine that has been quiet for hours is due for a big win. The math does not work that way. Every spin is independent and determined the instant you press the button or pull the lever. A machine random number generator cycles through thousands of possible outcomes every second. Past results have no influence on future spins. Whether the last player hit a jackpot or lost 10 times in a row, your odds on the next spin are exactly the same. These beliefs can be comforting because they offer a sense of control in a game built on chance. But the real mechanics are far less personal and far more consistent. Modern slot systems are certified by independent labs and monitored by state commissions. Regulators check the code, the payback percentages, and the audit trails. If a casino wanted to secretly tighten the odds, it would leave a glaring paper trail and risk heavy penalties, including license revocation. The real story is not secret tweaks. The real story is how the game design itself, including virtual reels, symbol weighting, and engineered excitement, shapes the player experience from the inside out. The next step is understanding how those mechanics work, and why the odds you see are not always the odds you get. In 1984, a Norwegian engineer named Inge Telnes filed a patent that quietly changed the future of slot machines. Before his invention, every outcome was tied directly to the physical reels, and a jackpot symbol could only appear as often as there were spaces on the metal wheel. Telnes saw the limits in this system. The biggest prize was capped by how many stops a reel could physically hold, usually 16 or 22. That meant jackpots could not be made any rarer or any bigger without making the machines physically unworkable. Telnes introduced a hidden layer called the virtual reel. Instead of relying on the visible stops, the machine's microprocessor generates a random number and matches it to a much larger set of virtual stops stored in memory. Imagine a classic slot with 3 reels, each showing 16 symbols. Behind those, there might be a table with 256 or 500 virtual stops per reel. Each virtual stop is mapped to a physical position. Some symbols, like cherries or bars, can be assigned to dozens of virtual stops. The jackpot, though, can be mapped to just one. Here's how it works in practice. The random number generator picks a number between 1 and 500. The software consults its internal table and lands on a symbol for that reel. If the number matches the single virtual stop assigned to the jackpot, the big win appears. If it lands on any of the hundreds assigned to blanks or low-value symbols, the outcome is far less exciting. The visible reels spin and stop, but the real decision has already happened in the code, milliseconds before. On the outside, the jackpot symbol might seem to come up as often as any other, for example 1 in 16 times per reel. But the true odds are buried in the mapping. If there is only one jackpot stop out of 500, your chance of hitting 3 in a row is 1 in 125 million. The machine displays a world where every symbol looks equal, but the math underneath tells a different story. Regulators and testing labs inspect these mapping tables as part of the certification process. Every machine's virtual to physical mapping is documented, checked, and sealed before it ever hits the casino floor. For players, the effect is invisible. The game feels random and fair, but the odds are engineered down to the last decimal point by how those virtual stops are assigned. Telnayez's breakthrough allowed jackpots as large as the casino dared to offer, all while keeping the illusion of possibility spinning right in front of the player's eyes. Every slot machine spin feels like a fresh chance, but the truth sits deep in the code, where not all symbols are created equal. When you watch the reels, it looks like every picture, cherry, bar, or jackpot has the same shot at lining up. The reality is that the odds are carefully weighted, and the difference between what you see and what you get is measured down to the last decimal. Take a classic 3-reel slot. Each reel might show 16 symbols, a handful of cherries, a few bars, and that one jackpot icon that makes hearts race. Behind the scenes, the software maps hundreds of invisible virtual stops to each physical position. That jackpot symbol might be tied to just one virtual stop out of 500, while a cherry could be mapped to 200 or more. The math is stark. While a cherry might appear on the pay line every few spins, the jackpot is a ghost, visible often enough to keep hope alive, but nearly impossible to land. Here's how it works in practice. The random number generator picks a number between 1 and 500. The software consults its internal table. Maybe numbers 1 through 200 point to a cherry, 201 through 499 point to a bar, and only number 500 to the jackpot. That means for every 500 spins, you could see 200 cherries, almost 300 bars, and, if luck really swings your way, one jackpot. The reels might look balanced, but the math is anything but. This system lets designers shift the odds for each symbol without changing the look of the machine. They can make jackpots feel tantalizingly close, even as the real probability drops to a fraction of a percent. Players might see the jackpot symbol glide past the pay line again and again, but its actual chance is buried in the mapping table, not on the spinning reels. Regulators and testing labs require these odds to be documented and certified. Mapping tables are checked, and the frequency of each symbol is calculated down to the last virtual stop. The process is legal and transparent to authorities and built into every game before it hits the casino floor. For the player, though, the experience is shaped by what the eye sees and the mind hopes for, not by the cold numbers behind the curtain. Weighted odds are why some symbols feel friendly and others seem to dodge you forever. The cherry is a regular visitor, the jackpot a rare event. This is not a flaw or a trick. It is the foundation of modern slot design. The rules are fixed, but the thrill comes from not knowing which symbol the next spin will bring. The visible reels keep the dream alive, while the math quietly keeps the house ahead. A slot machine slows, the reels blur, and 2 jackpot symbols land in place. The third reel ticks just past the pay line, stopping on a blank. Hearts skip a beat, so close. This is not just luck or coincidence. Near misses are built into the fabric of modern slot machines, a side effect of how symbols are mapped and weighted in the software. They happen more often than pure chance would suggest, and their power lies in the way the mind responds. Research shows that near misses spark the same bursts of excitement as actual wins. Players linger, convinced a jackpot is just out of reach. The anticipation is electric, the disappointment sharp, but the urge to keep spinning grows stronger. The line between natural and artificial near misses is a bright one in the eyes of the law. In Nevada, every slot outcome must flow directly from the random number generator and the certified mapping of symbols. Near misses are allowed only when they occur as a mathematical consequence of the game's design, not because a programmer decided to tease players with extra, almost wins. The Universal gaming case from the 1980s drew this boundary in black and white. Universal's machines used a 2-step process. After the random outcome was picked, the software would sometimes override the display, choosing a losing combination that looked like a near miss. The Nevada Gaming Commission called this deceptive. Their language was blunt. It is unlawful for a slot machine to deliberately mislead the player through secondary decision programming or artificial creation of near-miss outcomes. That order forced the removal and retrofit of hundreds of machines. Regulators demanded that every displayed result must come straight from the initial random draw and the approved mapping table. No extra logic, no psychological tricks layered on top. Today, compliance labs run extended tests on every new game, confirming that near-miss rates match the probabilities set by the certified reels. If a machine delivers near misses more often than the math predicts, it is flagged for investigation. Any sign of secondary programming, anything that enhances the frequency or drama of a near miss beyond what chance allows, can trigger fines, removal, or even loss of a casino's license. Manufacturers walk a narrow path. The mapping of virtual reels and symbol weights naturally creates plenty of near misses. For example, if the jackpot symbol is surrounded by blanks or low-paying icons, the odds of 2 jackpots landing with a blank on the third reel are much higher than the odds of hitting 3 jackpots. Players see the jackpot glide past again and again, and the sense of being one away keeps them engaged. But as long as every outcome is a direct result of the initial random number and the certified mapping, the design is legal, even if the psychological pull is undeniable. Consumer advocates have pushed for stricter rules, arguing that near misses exploit human psychology and drive risky play. Regulators counter that transparency and strict enforcement of the math are the best protections. The Nevada Gaming Commission's stance remains clear: random near misses are legal, artificial ones are not. The suspense you feel is carefully engineered, but within the boundaries of law. The next layer of the slot experience goes even deeper, where the game celebrates wins that are actually losses, and the emotional payoff is as powerful as any jackpot. A slot machine erupts in lights and music. The screen flashes, coins jingle, and the word "win" pulses across the display. But the player's balance tells a quieter story. She bet $5 on that spin, and the machine awarded her $2. It feels like a victory, but her bankroll is down $3. This is what designers call a loss disguised as a win, abbreviated LDWW. Mary, a casual player from the Midwest, tracked her results over a weekend trip. Out of 612 spins, her machine celebrated 39 times, each with the same fanfare regardless of the amount. But only 7 of those were true wins, where the payout beat the bet. The rest were losses dressed up in confetti and sound. Her cash slipped from $600 to $236, even as the machine kept congratulating her. "I felt like I was winning a lot," she said, "but my bankroll just kept shrinking." Researchers like Dr. Mike Dixon have studied what happens inside the brain and body during these moments. Lab tests show that when a slot machine pays out less than the wager but celebrates anyway, players' heart rates and skin conductance spike, almost identical to the reaction from a real win. The celebration tricks the senses, lighting up the same reward pathways. Players walk away believing they've had a lucky session, even as their losses pile up. The effect is not just psychological, it is physiological, built into the design of the game. The true cost of these disguised wins only becomes clear when the music fades and the balance is gone. Every slot machine on a casino floor must pass a battery of technical tests before it is ever played by the public. Independent labs, like Gaming Laboratories International and BMM Test Labs, run simulations that check millions of spins against the machine code. Their job is to confirm that the random number generator produces outcomes exactly as the game internal mapping dictates, no more, no less. The labs verify the payback percentage, also called return to player, known as RTP, matches what is declared in the manufacturer documentation. In most major jurisdictions, that figure is set well below 100%. For example, a typical slot might be certified at 92% RTP. This means, over the long run, the machine returns 92 cents for every dollar wagered. The remaining 8 cents is the house edge, built straight into the code. Once a machine passes lab testing, regulators seal the software and record the approved math in official logs. Any change to the payout percentage or symbol mapping requires a new round of testing, fresh documentation, and sign-off from gaming authorities. The process is tightly controlled and leaves a detailed audit trail. If a casino tried to alter the odds or swap out the program without approval, it would risk immediate penalties and possible loss of license. Routine audits and surprise inspections make sure the games on the floor still match their certified math years after installation. For players, the certification process is invisible. The machine feels unpredictable and exciting, but every outcome falls within the boundaries set by the approved math. The law requires fairness to the stated probabilities, not to the player's wallet. The result is a system that is legal, transparent to regulators, and consistently unfavorable to anyone hoping to beat the odds. Today, slot machines are engineered to maximize engagement, not player profit. Regulatory audits confirm legality, but psychological design keeps losses feeling like wins. As digital gaming spreads beyond casinos and onto phones, these same mechanics follow us home. The real gamble is not the odds. It is recognizing when the game is playing you. In this industry, transparency is the rarest jackpot of all.